3 reasons why Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, has to go. And reason number 3 won't surprise you. I'm making this video now for 2 reasons that come from the same place. The war is over. When there was a war, I didn't feel right to criticize the government. When soldiers are fighting in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Iran, in Yemen, in Syria, I thought the best thing I could do was explain to the world what's really happening, especially when international media wouldn't stop acting as a loudspeaker for Hamas propaganda in Gaza. And I will keep doing that. My next video will be about how Jews lived in all Arab countries long before the Muslim arrived. So make sure to subscribe. But another reason I'm making this video is that a lot of people ask me about it, about Israel's internal politics, what Israelis are actually talking about, things the rest of the world doesn't always hear. And one of the beautiful things about Israel is that it is a democracy, unlike the Arab countries around us. Here, I can enjoy freedom of speech. I can criticize the government, and nothing will happen to me. In Gaza, people who criticize the regime get arrested or worse. That's one of the biggest differences between the Jewish state and the Arab world: democracy and freedom of speech. So, let's begin. 3 reasons why Bibi has to go. Reason number 1, October 7th. There are failures so massive that the person in charge simply has to resign. October 7 is one of those failures. Everyone under Netanyahu either resigned or was fired. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, Shin Bet Chief Ronen Bar, IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi, Military Intelligence Head Aaron Haliba, and many other senior officers in Israel's defense and intelligence community. The Prime Minister should also take responsibility and go home. Netanyahu's supporters will blame the army, and the more extreme ones will call it a conspiracy. I don't deal in conspiracies, not from the right and not from the left, because the truth is that behind most great disasters, there is not some evil mastermind pulling the strings. It is the opposite: mediocrity. Laziness and arrogance are also qualities that help failures grow. Bibi didn't plan October 7th to stay in power. No general betrayed Israel. They failed and they should go home. But there are 2 other things directly related to October 7th that Benjamin Netanyahu is personally responsible for. Even if we put the military and intelligence failure aside, there was also the failure of October 8th. In the days that followed, Israel simply didn't function. Government ministers didn't function. And here is something even Netanyahu supporters know: the people of Israel saved the state of Israel. Ordinary Israelis took their weapons and went out to fight. And I'm not talking about the army. I'm talking about civilians. People evacuated others, wrote lists of the wounded and the dead, brought equipment to soldiers and to families who fled. There was a national wave of volunteering, and the government just didn't show up. That failure of government ministries, that's on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And I will come back to that later. The third part of October 7th is also his direct responsibility. Because of Netanyahu, Qatar transferred money to Hamas. He thought he was buying peace and quiet, but instead he fueled the Islamist monster in Gaza, funded by Qatar. Qatar is one of Israel's greatest enemies, and the person who whitewashed that enemy was Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm not even talking about the Qatargate affair that is under investigation right now, in which Qatar allegedly bribed Israeli officials close to Netanyahu. I'm talking about years of Bibi Netanyahu's policy. The fact that Qatari money entered Gaza with Israel's approval and Netanyahu's support strengthened both Hamas and Qatar. For opening that door, Bibi has to go. Reason number 2, the Ultra-orthodox saga. This deserves its own long video, but in short, in 1948, a few rabbis asked Ben-Gurion to exempt 400 yeshiva students from military service, to preserve a remnant of the destroyed Jewish world after the Holocaust. Ben-Gurion agreed, and later regretted it. In 1977, when the Likud party came to power, that number exploded. Today, it is tens of thousands. It is not only that they don't serve in the army, Many of them also don't work. Their wives work and they live off welfare payments. This didn't start under Netanyahu, but in the last 2 years, during one of Israel's longest and most difficult wars, his party didn't just tolerate it, it cooperated with it. Just a few days ago, there was a massive ultra-orthodox rally against the draft, and the Likud worked hand in hand with it. Some ministers wanted to go, but in the end they didn't, probably because an ultra-extreme wing of the Orthodox community also took part. Only a small member in the Likud party were willing to call out the refusal to serve. Now I know I will get a lot of messages from ultra-Orthodox viewers disappointed by what I'm saying. And yes, there are Haredim who help, who volunteer, who serve, like the people of Zaka and a few ultra-Orthodox soldiers. That's true, but it is the exception. If you told me there are 100 or 200,000 Torah scholars that the army can manage without, fine. Just like we release elite athletes or musicians. But that's not the case. Tens of thousands don't serve, don't volunteer, don't contribute to the war effort. And the ruling party cooperates with it. The government sends one group to fight, hundreds of days of reserve duty, some won't come home, while telling another group they don't have to contribute at all. The third reason Bibi needs to go home is one you will recognize from your own country. It doesn't matter if you're from Spain, India, Germany, or Wisconsin. Corruption. There is that famous saying, power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it is true. With a small break in between, Bibi has been prime minister for about 15 years. So much power for so many years simply corrupted him, Bibi, and his party. His government is the largest Israel has ever had, with endless unnecessary ministers. The public is suffering under the weight of war, but the government keeps growing fatter. One of these pointless ministers is the Regional Cooperation Ministry. Think about it. What regional cooperation? We're not exactly the European Union with all that fruitful cooperation. In the Middle East, the main thing we exchange is explosives. They shoot rockets, we shoot back. The minister's name is Dudi Amsalem. You probably never heard of him. His main activity seems to be handing out jobs to his friends. And what's he been promoting lately? A law that allows ministers to appoint board members not by merit, but by political loyalty. There are so many urgent things to deal with. Soldiers, reservists, the wounded, people returning to their destroyed homes and communities in the north after 2 years. And what is he doing? What is he promoting? A law that says board members will not longer be chosen based on professional criteria, but according to the will of the minister. Not only is he not helping rebuild Israel after the long war, he's destroying the civil service to hand out jobs to his friends. And if you think this is just one rotten apple, it is not. Here is another one. Benjamin Netanyahu. In recent days, this story has blown up, and we will see where it goes. But Netanyahu tried to arrange a job for his son as head of the public diplomacy department in the World Zionist Organization. There are two issues here. The first is the pollution of Zionist institution with unqualified people, something that's been happening for years. And I will say this, in some cases, I think that's fine. If someone served in the army, worked in public service for decades, and has a reputation abroad, maybe it is okay for him to get an honorary position, to travel, to lecture, to make money. It is not the most moral thing in the world, but it happens. But Yair Netanyahu, the son of the prime minister, getting a job as the head of public diplomacy department with a salary of 50,000 shekels, about $15,000, a car and an office, there aren't many fields I consider myself an expert in. But in the field of fighting for Israel image around the world, I've probably learned a thing or two in the last couple of years. I've learned two things. First, the situation is not good. And second, There are amazing people doing incredible work in this field without getting a single shekel from the government. People like Eliav Betito, Ella Keinan, Yosef Haddad, Noah Tishby, Ashley Waxman Bakshi, Sahar, Tal Oran, and many others. Yair Netanyahu is not one of them. In the past 2 years, Yair Netanyahu has been living in Miami. He didn't choose to stay in Israel during the war and volunteer. He didn't create any Hasbara organization. He's been living the good life in Miami. And the fact that his father is trying to get him a luxury, high-paying job in such an important field, while everyone else in that field works for free or lives off donations, that's corruption at the highest level. It's time for Bibi to go home. And just one last word before we finish. One of Israel's biggest problems is that the country has split into two camps, pro-Bibi and anti-Bibi. The anti-Bibi camp hasn't managed to produce a real alternative. And I think the anti-Bibi camp doesn't realize that when they keep saying, just not Bibi, they are actually strengthening him because they are still talking about him instead of offering something else. So I want to mention a few politicians I actually respect. I will start with Einat Wilf. She's not very well known in Israel, but a lot of people asked me for book recommendations, and she wrote an excellent one called The War of Return. I've been waiting for an opportunity to mention her. I will put a link below. And I will give 3 names of right-wing politicians I respect. Let's see how many subscribers I lose because of what I'm about to say. Naftali Bennett. He was prime minister for a short time and led an almost impossible coalition. I respect him a lot. Within the Likud party, there is Amichai Shikli, a man of values, with a background in education. Not everything in the Likud movement is rotten. And Moshe Feiglin, whose dedication to the people of Israel in the land of Israel is greater than any attempt to buy him with a deal or a position. I've always respected him. And that's it, my friend. I'm really looking forward to reading your comments, and I want to thank everyone who supports my channel. I don't get $7,000 from the Israeli government for every video I upload. Not $6,000 and not even 7 shekels. I live off your support. If you don't want to miss the next video, which will be about how Jews lived in all Arab countries before the Muslims, make sure to subscribe and click the bell. Because if you don't, YouTube won't necessarily show you my next videos. Thank you for your support. See you soon. Yalla bye.